The thing that I'm really observing is he is bitching so much. It is like really annoying. Fam, this is the finals. You have to get back on defense. You have to play defense or attempt to play defense. He's been a complete turnstile. They are targeting him, putting him on an island. Doesn't matter who it is. Derek White, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday. Everybody is picking on him on defense, and he's complaining and crying in a way that I just feel like is taking the energy from his team. Hold on, Samaria. Are you wearing a dress right now? What's our attire for the day? What is this? What's happening?
I have on. This is like a little cami, but then I have on the shorts that I went to sleep in.
Oh, okay. Business up top, party down low. It's really time for the fumble. You ready, beloved?
Yeah, let's go. So Caitlin Clark once again is the most talked about athlete this week after she was not chosen for the 2024 Paris Olympics team. The team of 12 consists of stars like A'ja Wilson, Diana Taurasi, and Brittany Griner, just to name a few, but many believe Clark should have made the list not necessarily for her basketball talents, but the eyeballs that she would bring to the Olympic Games for women's basketball. Rodney, do you believe that it was a mistake to leave Caitlin Clark off the Olympic list?
Is a pig's ass pork? Hell yeah, it was a mistake. Listen, there are players that have made this team who have not played a second of WNBA basketball this season, right? Earlier this year in the FIBA qualifiers, the women's team won on a buzzer beater over Belgium. So this tells me that the gap between the WNBA players and the female players who have won the last 8 Olympic gold medals is maybe shortening just a little bit. It's shrinking just a little bit, right? And what I've learned from the men's team is that you need to have young players in the pipeline who are learning on the job and also have the ability to make an impact every now and again. That's the reason why Tyrese Halliburton is on this year's men's Olympics team. I'm not going to talk too much about the fanfare and the eyeballs and the marketing aspect of it. I think from a competitive standpoint, it makes all the sense in the world to have Caitlin on the team.
Okay, before I even get into my notes, who do you think should be left off if Caitlin?
I think Chelsea hasn't played the this entire season, so I don't understand how she makes the team. I saw somebody make an argument that there's a camaraderie element, and the Aces have 3 players on the team who made the Olympic team, but the Aces are 5-5. They're playing 500 basketball right now. So do we want 3 Aces on the team? I mean, obviously A'ja Wilson is a given, but I don't know.
Okay, so because the Olympics are every 4 years, you don't feel like what a player has done leading up into that point, what Chelsea Gray was able to do last season matters?
Yo, I think Chelsea is incredible. Please do not misconstrue what I'm saying.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. That's what I learned in therapy. You got to ask.
You're in therapy. I did not. Yeah. I didn't know you were therapized. I just feel like you need to have young players in the pipeline in order to make the team in 4 years more prepared. You never know like who's gonna be there in 4 years, who's gonna be injured, and so to not have anybody under the age of 26 on this team, I think that's a huge miss.
Well, I think that you have some of your younger women on as alternates because it's being reported that Caitlin Clark will be an alternate. But I do feel like this is not about the WNBA. This is about the U.S. women's national team. They are about winning gold medals. It's not about getting eyeballs. I don't understand how people are like, this is a bad marketing opportunity. Stephen A. Smith. It doesn't make sense. These are the 12 best women's basketball players that you have right now representing the United States. They have to be on the team. I'm sorry, Caitlin Clark does not make the cut.
That is extremely short-sighted. Yo, the 92 Olympic team, no, seriously, no nonsense, right? Okay. The 92 Olympic team. I won't mention Christian Laettner and Shaquille O'Neal. I think that's a moot point. I think the thing that the 92 Olympic team really did was globalize the game in a way that now you see people from Serbia and Yugoslavia playing at a high level because they were so inspired by that team that they saw, right? Seeing Michael Jordan, seeing Scottie Pippen, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, so on and so forth. Their presence in the Olympics globalized the NBA sport in a way that now NBA players are some of the most popular outside of football, soccer, however you want to call it, in the world. It globalized the game. You had an opportunity to do that with Caitlin Clark. People internationally want to know who this phenom is. They've been hearing all of this noise about from America because our news does travel. So being able to get a firsthand look at her and potentially her breaking out playing with adequate teammates because her team in Indiana is trash, seeing how she plays with other elite talent, I really think there was a huge missed opportunity to globalize even further the women's game.
Well, I feel like Andrea Carter made a good point. Caitlin Clark would be on the bench on that team. She would ride the bench throughout the Olympics. So then I think that would be another issue that people would have. They would find a reason to be upset with that. Listen, I'm not knocking the U.S. women's national team. I think that they made the best decision. Because if you think about the 4 rookies that have made the Olympic team, you should know them. They are the best of the best. Hall of Fame caliber. Can you name them?
It's Diana, it's Candace, it's Stewie, I believe, and is it Brittany Griner?
No, Rebecca Lobo.
Respectfully,
Yes.
Rebecca Lobo had a phenomenal career, but she's like the women's Patrick Ewing, and I'm just not a Patrick Ewing fan like that. That's all I'm gonna say. Caitlin Clark is averaging 17, 5, and 5. If she were to keep these numbers up for the entirety of this season, she would be one of 5 players in WNBA history, not rookies, in WNBA history to average that stat line. She's been playing phenomenally with a whole bunch of misfits. So I want to recognize how great she has been playing. It's not like she's been stinking it up in the WNBA. So let's kind of release that thought.
So to recap, you feel like Caitlin Clark should be in and Chelsea Gray should be out.
I think if you've been injured for an entire season, like Kawhi Leonard should not be on the Olympic team because he wasn't able to finish the NBA season. Like that's just how if you're incapable physically of playing, then why are you making the team? That's my belief. Y'all let us know your thoughts. Do you feel like it was a huge miss for Caitlin Clark to not be on the USA women's basketball team? Since we were last with you, there have been 3 NBA Finals games, and all 3 have been won by the Boston Celtics, which is making my ancestors turn over in their grave. Game 3, we saw an aggressive Kyrie Irving come out in attack mode, making it a close first half. But in the second half, the Celtics, playing without Kristaps Porzingis, went on a run and gained a lead of as many as 21 points before a run spearheaded by PJ Washington and Kyrie closed the gap to a single point. But inevitably, the Mavs couldn't pull it out, especially after Luka fouled out. And it feels like this thing is over. Samaria, did you expect the Celtics to be this dominant?
Yeah. I said this last week. I talked about how dominant they were in the playoffs, and you're like, they didn't play anybody. Okay, anyways, child.
They didn't.
Luka fouling out was like the dagger. He needed to be on the court. And he said that. He's like, I needed to be out there for sure. He understands the impact that him not being on the floor had on this team, but I mean, the issue is Boston they're a well-oiled machine, and they have role players. They have guys on this team that can get it done each and every night. If Jason is hot in the first half, you know that Brown is going to be hot in the second half, which he did. He had 30 points. They combined for 61 points, which is crazy. And then you have Drew Holiday and Derek White. I mean, their 25 points were so clutch last night. That's the difference. Because it took PJ so long. I'm looking at the box score. I'm like, PJ has 1 point. 1 point.
Yeah.
He ended up finishing, I think, in double figures, but it's just like we needed to see him do something more. Lively was okay. I think he had 11 points yesterday coming off the bench, but that's the issue right there for the Mavericks.
Yeah, the Mavericks' margin of error to be able to just stay in these games, let alone win them, is so small. It's so slim. The thing that I said when the series was starting was that the Celtics just have 4 elite perimeter defenders, and if Luka was able to solve these defenders, then that would really put him in the conversation for legitimately to be the best player in the world. He hasn't quite been able to do that, and in addition to his game not really clicking the way it has for most of the playoffs, the thing that I'm really observing is he is bitching so much. It is like really annoying. Fam, this is the finals. You have to get back on defense. You have to play defense or attempt to play defense. He's been a complete turnstile. They are targeting him, putting him on an island. Doesn't matter who it is. Derek White, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday. Everybody is picking on him on defense, and he's complaining and crying in a way that I just feel like is taking the energy from his team. We saw a rejuvenated Kyrie Irving come out in Game 3 and really from the jump. Matter of fact, he scored the first basket of the game on a drive with a finish with the left hand. There is no Kristaps Porzingis to man the paint, and he exploited that. But when it came down to it, they couldn't get enough stops because their all-world player and Luka Dončić just refuses to play defense and refuses to stop crying. It is like it's really getting bad. Somebody has to talk to him and intervene for sure.
I think that Luka is not even 50%. I feel like he is playing on the bummest of legs right now. No, seriously. I mean, because I feel like he has been battling an injury. That's not a secret, right?
No, it's not a secret, but
yeah,
he's been battling this all playoffs, and he's been
right.
putting up phenomenal numbers. So I don't want to give him that excuse. I don't.
Well, it wasn't necessarily an excuse. I was just like saying, like, isn't he injured? Like, because he seems to me like watching him play, it's like you can tell that he's not 100%. I wouldn't even say 50.
He's decelerating. So the way that I can gauge a lower extremity injury is he's able to decelerate, right? Like, he's never been an elite athlete, but to be able to stop on a dime and slow down the way in which he has been tells me that he's not the stress of doing that is not causing too much pain, because he does it time and time again. So I don't want to give him that excuse. I think he's been playing against some elite defenders. I want to give them credit, and I also feel like he's just not used to the level of physicality that the Celtics have been employing against him.
So it's safe to say that Boston will be hanging their 18th banner.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. I don't want success for anything in Boston. But what did I tell you when the series started? MVP, Jaylen Brown.
Yes.
Jaylen Brown, Finals MVP.
Easy.
Yes, the highest paid player in the NBA. He came out this entire season in all actuality, but for sure in the playoffs, and has really looked like the guy who earned and deserves every last coin. So shout out to JB, a phenomenal young black man. Faux show.
Yeah, y'all let us know down in the comments, do you feel like the Dallas Mavericks can go on to make history in the NBA Finals, or will the Boston Celtics hang their 18th banner? All right, so Aaron Rodgers has not reported for Jets' mandatory minicamp this week. Colin Cowherd is reporting that Rodgers missed minicamp for a vacation overseas that was, quote, really important to him. So missing minicamp, of course, is going to cost him a pretty penny. He only had to be there for 2 days with the team, but chose not to show. Now, his teammates and head coach are okay with his absence. Is this a bad look, Rodney, or could be something as big as affecting the team's success this season?
No, when you are old, you do what you want to do. We all saw Aaron Rodgers tear his Achilles last year, fight to try to come back in the same season in which he had that injury, but showed up at team facilities, practiced with the team, galvanized the team. This team knows who Aaron Rodgers is and how he shows up for them. He tried to pour into Zach Wilson, which is a waste of energy by all accounts. I don't think him missing minicamp is going to have any long-term ramifications for this team. I've seen LeBron James take 2 weeks off in the middle of a season to get his body right. So if this is something that Aaron Rodgers feels like he needed to do, then by all means go ahead, because you're one of the greatest to ever do it. And at this point, you understand what will make you the best version of yourself.
Sir, no, this is not a good look. He made a choice. You had to be there for 2 days. You could not push your vacation back for 2 days. See, this is the thing. Everybody's like, oh, he was there OTAs. I think Pat McAfee, they have this great relationship. Mm-hmm. But Pat McAfee said on his show that Aaron Rodgers had been there the entire OTAs all off season. Mm-hmm. Okay, but everyone else doesn't have to be there for OTAs. That is voluntary. Mandatory minicamp, now you have your entire team here. You need to be here.
Wait, so if I've been here when I didn't have to be, does that not show a level of commitment?
No, because what I'm saying is that you have more moving parts now. So now you have your entire team here that has to be here in the building. Now you need to be here for your team for these 2 days.
Samaria, do you think the linemen and the receiving corps were at OTAs?
Sometimes people aren't there. Some of your superstars don't show up.
What do you think? What does your gut tell you? Do you think the linemen?
Some of them were there.
So they got a fair amount of reps in? You would think in OTAs?
Rodney, the man could have been there for 2 days.
Yo, Aaron Rodgers is like
he's the starting quarterback. There's no other starting quarterback that has missed mandatory minicamp across the NFL. The last time that has happened was Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. He's the only starting quarterback that's missing.
There are certain people who just operate differently than most of society. Like Aaron Rodgers is like white Kyrie Irving. Their brain is just, it operates and functions differently. And so sometimes when you are so different, you have to go about things differently. I recognize and understand that it's counterculture, but he is a counterculture man through and through. So if and I know I can rationalize and understand his approach to this. He's like, yo, I've been here since really since I tore my Achilles week 1, and I've been putting in all of this work. Yo, I just need these 2 days. Maybe it was a boat trip. We don't know. The summertime is hard to figure out summer travel plans. You don't know what friends and family were able to get off of work. It's what he felt like he needed to do. It's all right, yo. It's 2 days. It's all right. It's all right.
Okay. It ain't. It was a choice. He made a choice, and it wasn't a
Yeah, he made a choice. He made a choice. We will see what the Jets will be this year with a decent quarterback at the very least behind center, and that defense is phenomenal. He has great receivers. They boosted the O-line a little bit. There are a lot of good things to talk about when it comes to the Jets this season. I don't want to start their season off by talking about Aaron Rodgers missing 2 days of a minicamp that really would have served him.
He should have.
I disagree.
We wouldn't be talking about.
Wow, whisper into the mic. Y'all let us know your thoughts. Do you think it's a bad look for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets that Aaron missed 2 days of minicamp? So, Samaria, last week I gave Stephen A. Smith the fumble of the week, and I acknowledge the ways in which he's changed the sports media landscape forever, but I capped it off by calling him the man, and this week I want to walk that statement back just a little bit. So I had a revelation this week about Stephen A. that many people arrived to a long time ago. He is slowly becoming a caricature of what a sports journalist is supposed to be, and is far more shock jock these days than anything else. I watched this man demand of Will Smith to speak about the incident between he and Chris Rock to black people with a level of entitlement that is usually reserved for sugar babies. You know what a sugar baby is, Samaria? He is acting like a full-blown sugar baby. I could not believe it, man. His chastisement of people who think differently than he does, like Kyrie Irving, his friendship with Sean Hannity and appearances on Fox News, make my stomach turn a little bit. He regularly on his Stephen A. Smith platform speaks about things that give you the ick that you felt the first time you realized the only reason you're here is because your parents had sex. Or like the ick you felt when you heard J. Cole rapping about Grippy. Stephen A. Smith is slowly turning into the black Skip Bayless. And the one difference between he and Skip Bayless is Stephen A. Smith has insulated himself with black women in a way that Skip Bayless was just simply not smart enough to do. It's why last week, in the midst of the conversation about his lack of coverage for the WNBA, it's the first thing that he ran to, his exemplary track record with platforming and championing black women, right? It was the thing that he ran to because it's his immediate out. At some point, the direction that Stephen A. Smith is going into will cost him his job because the world will start to get tired of his antics. He also acknowledged this past week that marketing is more important than integrity. And for me, that was the last straw. And, you know, he's been phenomenal. I've enjoyed watching Stephen A. Smith. I still think that he has a chance to make another course correction and get back to the legitimacy of his profession. And so this week, the fumble is going to Stephen A. Smith.
I think for me, the whole marketing thing between him and Andrea Carter, him telling Andrea, like, you'll never have the career that you think you'll have because you don't care about marketing. And she's like, oh, no, I'm good over there. Like, you don't. It's those are things like that make me question, what are you saying? Because like you mentioned, are you saying stuff because this is the right thing to say? Or are you saying it because of the shock factor? That there's no integrity there. He has to go to Fox News.
For sure.
So that's what he needs to have.
He regularly comments that he has the #1 show, and he does, right? But when I look out into the ethos, I wonder who are his direct competitors for that time slot for his program. I mean, it would be undisputed with Skip Bayless, but I mean, he has like a slew of cast-offs from ESPN, and Skip's voice has become nails on the chalkboard for many people, and Stephen A. Smith is heading in that direction as well. So that #1, that braggadocious nature about being #1, it's like when you drop an album on a Friday but nobody else released. It's like you're really not competing with anybody. And so at some point, there will be a network that creates a competitor, and it'll be a lot more. It'll have a lot more integrity. It'll have a lot less theatrics, and I think that Stephen A. Smith is going to have a wake-up call when that day comes.
Yeah, and if Monica McNutt does not make another appearance on First Take, we'll know why, and that even solidifies the impact that he has and the way that he's blocking people because they disagree with him.
Yeah, she will. And shout out to Monica, man. She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I've been a huge fan of hers since she was at Georgetown. She knows that. And she does a lot of work with TV One as well. So shout out to you, Monica.
Yes.
But that's all that I have to say about Stephen A. Y'all let us know your thoughts. Where do you fall these days on Stephen A. Smith's sports journalistic integrity? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section.
All right, that's all for this week. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The Fumble. Make sure to subscribe to The Fumble and at The Fumble Sports on social media. Of course, we deliver the latest in sports every day on our YouTube page with Jackie Ray, and then every Friday right here on The Fumble with myself, Samaria Terry, and Rodney Rakai.